Chuck from Simple Plan. How are you, brother?
Hey, how are you, Jay? Thanks for having me.
Very stoked. We've actually been giving away tickets to your show on Friday at the Lenovo Grand Prix. Have you guys ever played an event similar to F1 before?
We did. We played the Grand Prix in Montreal in 2005, actually. It was pretty wild. I remember it was 46 degrees Celsius on the time that we hit the stage, literally. And it was so hot. And it was right after the race on the racetrack. It was incredible. It was so fun. We got to go see the cars from up close. So 21 years later, full circle, get to do it again. It's pretty cool.
And it's pretty cool the way that they're doing it this year for F1 as well. Not just your show, everybody's shows as well. Brian Adams and the Beaches and everybody is. It's all part of a 1 day festival pass, and there's a very specific site that they've actually constructed for the bands to play. So maybe because as we both know, being in Montreal, when summer hits, it's 45 degrees and muggy like a lot of the time. So maybe it won't be quite as hot for you guys to play on Friday.
And mine worked out great. I look at the weather and it's looking really good. So I'm excited for that. And I just think it's really great to have, so many awesome Canadian artists doing it, some legends
Yeah.
and some kind of newer up and coming, bands. It's really, really cool. We're stoked. We're really happy to be a part of it. It's always a pleasure to be back in our hometown, of course,
Yeah,
to play.
absolutely. And Montreal is absolutely super stoked to have you in town. And I was looking actually recently at a couple of the music festivals that the band has been doing. And it's interesting to sort of look at some of the bands that you're now on bills with. Whereas back in the day, it might be a little bit more pigeonholey, but now it feels as if Simple Plan has transcended sort of not just pop punk, but is in the whole world of rock and roll. And you're on bills with with harder rock acts as well. And you guys absolutely fit right in. How does that feel?
Yeah, you know what? It's been really great. It's so interesting how the world has kind of evolved and changed. Like it used to be like you had to be in that little very small scene and now people are just I think with Spotify and Apple Music and all that, people are just kind of exploding with their playlists and it's just kind of it's people are just more open-minded and you go to festivals and back then we would think like, oh my God, we're playing with Slipknot or we're gonna get killed, like it's gonna be terrible for us, and it's quite the opposite. We go all over the world and we play with all these super heavy rock band and people are stoked and they're loving it, and then we turn around and we can play with a more pop artist and it works too. So it's just a really great spot for us to be, and I think it's just becoming more eclectic, and I think it's inspired maybe by all the big European festivals where you can have these kind of crazy lineups and crazy bills, and it's fun, and just rock music's making a big comeback too, which is super exciting, and we're just happy that we stuck to the guitar like we always did.
Yeah. So I was rewatching The Kids in the Crowd yesterday. I watched it the first weekend that it came out. Excellent, excellent documentary. One of the things that struck me is, the
Thank
title
you.
card at the very beginning saying "You're very welcome" was that, in 1999 these guys gathered in a basement, and here we are this many years later going on their biggest tour ever. So I'm curious to ask you, when you think of the name Simple Plan now, this many years later, does it have a different meaning than when it first was the band's name? Like, how do you view the band's name now? Does it have a certain gravitas to it? Does it feel any different, or has it always been the band?
Well, you know what? It's kind of interesting that you mentioned the movie and the basement because I'm literally sitting in the house where the basement is. I'm at my parents' house in Montreal, so it's full circle. But as far as the name, it's always interesting, right? It's like, is it the what comes first? Like, is the name cool before the band becomes popular or whatever? Like if you're like four kids in Dublin and you come up with like, hey, I have this idea, we're gonna call our band U Two, or is that really awesome? I don't know. I mean, if they don't go anywhere, it's not that great, but I think it's really what you built around it. It's the legacy. It's the 25 years of the band. It's every little decision you make, every little detail, every little performance, every show, every song you write. They all help define what the name is, what the band is, what the identity of the band, what Simple Plan ultimately is. So, now the name to me sounds, I guess, iconic. Back then when we came up with it, to be honest, we had a friend of ours had watched a movie called A Simple Plan, and we were desperately looking for a band name. And he's like, maybe you guys should think about Simple Plan. It sounds kind of cool. And we're like, I don't know. We'll keep it for a while. We'll see. We'll change it later.
It's like a
And then we never
placeholder.
found anything better. Yeah, and you know what? And as we tried to rationalize why keeping that name, we came up with this explanation and it was true. At the time, we had this simple plan to be in a band, to not have a regular job, to do what we love, to travel the world, to have our songs be heard by people all over the world. And on paper, that sounded really simple. And obviously we realized that it wasn't, that it was a lot more complicated than we thought, and it kind of works out. And still today we still have that same plan to keep going to see how far we can take this thing.
One of my favorite moments in the documentary as another guy that is emotional, and I'm never not that far when thinking about the big moments in my life and my family moments from being emotional, was when you were talking about your deal and you first got your record deal, and you could feel the emotion well up inside you as you were thinking about that moment. And I'm curious, do you still have those moments within the band where something will touch you? Maybe it's something you see from the stage, or an interaction, or a moment in a studio where something just clicks, where you just feel it all welling up, like that emotion for the band is there as well?
Yeah, 100%. It's I think it's kind of crazy. I definitely get emotional about a lot of stuff in my life. I'm just built like that, I guess, but I get it all the time. When we meet fans and they tell us a story about, hey, like this song was so important to me, it helped me out, like it gave me a chance to speak to my dad and reconcile before he passed away. Like we hear that all the time about Perfect, and we hear people say
Yeah,
like, if it wasn't for this song, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. And you hear these stories, and sometimes you have a little kid coming up and saying like, because of you, I started playing drums, and I'm doing, it's all these kind of like, you realize that what you've been doing, because like we're in this. Like we're in our own little world, and we don't always know the impact that it has. It's quite special when you hear the story from someone. It makes it all kind of come alive.
yeah,
Same thing with our foundation. We started our foundation like 20 years ago, and we were able to help a lot of people, a lot of young people in need. And when we do like this yearly event where we have a charity, like like a charity concert, and we meet all the different groups that we've helped throughout the year, and they come and sort of tell us what, how they're using the money and everything. And when you hear that, and then you realize just like this little idea that we had, like, hey, we could help people, it has turned into something that's been so amazing, and we're so grateful for it. And those moments, you get emotional. You watch people in the front row and they're crying during a song, or um, all that is what makes, for me, what makes being in this band special
yeah.
and makes me want to keep going. You know what I
Let's
mean?
talk. Let's talk a little bit about bands helping bands. As Mark Hoppus says in the movie, he would kind of you would reach out and ask, could you come and sing on this song? Could you come and be in the video? And he said, I he was kind of like my little brother. Chuck was like my little brother. I'd kind of make it hard for him. And lo and behold, man, there he'd show up. He'd be in town. Like he made it. You made it happen. You manifested it. You also did this by cold calling all the record companies, pretending to be the manager. Like you put in the sweat equity to get there. And I'm curious, what would you tell a young band today to try and break through? Because the same infrastructure doesn't really exist necessarily. Do you feel it's a little bit harder, or do you think because
Yeah.
we all have access to everything all the time now with cameras that it can be easier for a band? Like, what would you tell them if I was coming to you and saying, "Hey, man, how do I get my band heard?" What would you say?
Right. Yeah, it's a tough question because yes, it did change a lot. At the same time, I think the one thing that didn't change for me when I look at it is the hard work and the perseverance, the resilience and the hustle and the drive. It might have to be channeled in a different way, than we did. Like for example, maybe it's about you getting out there and, putting your stuff on social media and creating content and trying to reach people. But at the same time, it's that same desire, like fire in your belly, that you want to make it, that this is your dream, and you won't let anyone tell you no, and you will keep going, and until you either like can't do it anymore or you've succeeded. So I feel like that's still the key to success in any, not just music, but anything, sports. And like if you're trying to study to become a doctor or whatever it is, you know it's that perseverance. It's not giving up. It's believing in yourself, having this kind of like delusional belief that it's going to work out, that you're going to figure it out. That's what we had. I mean, like the
Yeah,
chances of a band from Montreal signing a US record deal, selling millions of records, going around the world. And there was no model. There was no one that we could sort of look up to and say like, oh, they did it. The only one was like Celine Dion, but We didn't
Yeah.
sound like her at all. And it just didn't seem like it was in the cards, but we believed it, you know?
I hosted a video show on YTV called Chart Attack, and one of my first interviews was you and the guys. And I came to your hotel, and we all hung out for a couple of
Nice.
hours. And what I remember about that moment, because I was thinking about it for our conversation today, was how proud I was that you guys were Canadian and that you guys were French Canadian as well. I'm from the
Right.
East Coast of Canada, so I have French in my family as well. I just remember thinking, this is so great that we have these guys are ours. And then we got to sort of watch your journey. Did you ever think, I mean, there's probably been moments where you're like, how did I actually get here? And now the band is bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's there is something special about being from Canada and for us being from Montreal. It's so funny how like you wouldn't think of Montreal as this like music city that like is like, oh yeah, like when you come from Montreal, there's really there wasn't a lot of infrastructure, there wasn't a lot of record labels here. However, the one thing that it had is we were at the perfect time at the perfect place. Punk rock and pop punk was huge when we grew up in the teenage years. Montreal had all the shows. The bands were bigger than anywhere else in the world, I think. So they would constantly be coming to Montreal. So we were in this little sort of bubble. We were in this little perfect universe that sort of showed us the ropes, showed us like we had access. Lots of time it's like if you read the stories about like Bill Gates, like he grew up next to the library that had the first computer ever in the US or something like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like it's where you're at the and for us, it all lined up. We were at the perfect place, the perfect time. We loved growing up in Montreal. It defined our band, it defined who we are. It made us wanna like it made us ambitious because we were like, we're gonna find a way to get out of here. We're not just gonna be a
yeah,
Montreal band. We're gonna be a worldwide band. So we had that drive, that ambition. And when you look back now, 25 years later, even more, like making the movie and seeing everything it took to get to where we're at. I'm so proud of the band for not giving up when it got hard, for being able to work out, our differences when we had some, when there was conflicts, we sat down and we didn't just like give up and break up the band and say, oh, we can't do it anymore. It sucks. Like we actually were mature about it. We sat down, we worked things out. I'm proud of that maturity. I'm proud of the journey, and like I'm proud of like the longevity of the band. I think that's really, like when you really think about it, that's probably the coolest thing about the band is that, yeah, like you said, we're still around, number one, but not only are we still around, just surviving, we're actually thriving. We're playing the biggest shows of our lives. We're having the most fun. We're reaching a whole new generation of people. Like our fans are having kids and their kids are becoming fans of the band, which is unreal. It's kind of surreal, and so amazing. So yeah, I'm just so grateful, just really proud.
and you should be pretty stoked as well to be headlining Warp Tour.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Warp Tour with the first one we ever played was I think 97 or 98. You know, it was here in Montreal. We literally like somebody called us and said like if you can get here for noon, it was like 9 a.m. or 9:30, you can play Warp Tour. And we're like, "Oh my God, let's go." We got in the car, we drove there. Our parents drove us there because we were too young. We were 16 or 17 and we played. So to think that, we've played all these years, and now it's finally coming back to Montreal, which is so amazing to be a part of it. It's really full circle, and we're playing in we have become, I guess, a quintessential Warp Tour band, which was funny
Yeah,
because at first we were not that welcome in that club. It was like we were not punk rock enough and all that, and we just stuck to it because to us, we really believe that this is the music that we love. This is what the music that shaped us, and we wanted to be a part of it.
yeah.
And we kept coming back and coming back, and now we're playing in Mexico City this year. We're playing in Orlando. We're playing in Long Beach. We're playing in Montreal. We played in DC last year. It's just really cool. It's a cool story.
The only thing left to do for anybody watching this right now, Canada wide, North America wide, wherever it is that you're going to be, find out where Simple Plan is playing, and then make sure you go to the show. Going to be back here in Montreal for Warp Tour, Lenovo Grand Prix this coming Friday night as part of F1 weekend in Montreal. Man, thank you so much, Chuck, for talking to us. We really appreciate it.
It was my real pleasure, and thank you so much for the nice chat. It was great, and we'll see you at the show.